Major scales are the bedrock on which much of your keyboard theory is going to be built. Even if you're not going to become a concert pianist and play blazingly fast major scales, you still should know what one is because you're going to construct things on that scale. You're going to build chords off the scale. You're going to use that scale to make melodies. And even if you're just editing music, being able to go in and play a quick line, it's much faster if you know the scale and key that you're working with. So the scales work like this. If you know the notes on the piano or keyboard, starting here, take the two black notes and go to the left. That's a C. All right. So if this is going up C, we just go up the alphabet until you hit G. C, D, E, F, G, at which point the musical alphabet resets and we go back to A, B, C. So you'll notice that every 8 notes, that's called an octave, you will reach another C. And it works that way with every note. If I start on A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. So the reason you're going to start with C with your major scale is because if you do that, you're able to play an entire major scale using only the white notes on the piano, and we can avoid the black notes for the time being. Now, we're not going to avoid them for that long, but just for this first example, I'm going to build a major scale starting on C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Those notes make up a major scale. Let's analyze the distance between each one. The first 2 notes, C to D, you'll notice there's a black note between them. So the distance between C and D is called a whole step. The distance between C and this black note here, which is actually C sharp, is a half step. So the distance between a note and its next closest note is always called a half step. Doesn't matter if it's black or white. The distance between 2 notes that have a half step between them is a whole step. So if you simply go 2 half steps, you'll get to that whole step. So from C to D is a whole step. From D to E is another whole step. And then you've got your first half step. Between E and F, you'll notice there's no black note between them. So a note to the next closest note makes a half step. Then F to G is a whole step. G to A is a whole step. A to B is a whole step. And then finally, B to C, once again, a half step. So the combination, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That combination will always give you a major scale. And if you use that combination, you'll start to integrate black notes if you start on any note except for a C. Let's say, for example, I start on a G. G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. I'll get into why that is very soon. So if you want to play your major scales, just build that same combination, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If you're interested in which fingers you should use for every major scale, I highly recommend the Hanon for the Virtuoso Pianist book. It'll have every major scale and the proper piano fingering for it. There's also a couple of handy charts out there in the ether, in the internet world that you can grab. If you're going to play a C major scale, the easiest way to use your fingers for that would be to play the first 3 fingers and then start over again with your thumb. Why? Well, because there's 8 notes. If you play 3 notes and then you play all 5 notes with your 5 fingers, you'll get 8. Watch. Thumb, index, middle. Then your thumb goes behind to the next note F. Then your finger crosses over and you play your remaining fingers on the remaining notes. When you go back down, it's the same but in reverse. Play all your fingers till you reach your thumb, and now you need to play 3, 2, 1 on these last 3 notes. So cross your middle finger over the top and play 3, 2, 1. This pattern works for the C scale and a bunch of other scales. It doesn't work for every single scale because once you start integrating the sharps and flats, the black notes, your hand is better suited to put in a different position than using your thumb right on the first note. But for a bunch of the beginner scales, you'll be able to use your thumb on the first note and play 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So again, whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. That's the major scale. And if you play that scale, you'll be able to use those notes to improvise and create melodies. So if you have someone playing chords underneath to match it, that's why it's so important to know this major scale. You'll be able to build chords on it, and you'll be able to write your tunes, the part of the song that you sing or the part of the instrumental tune that's the catchy melodic part.